Hello everyone, Bhavna Gunwani this side. Today in this session we will discuss about arrays in Java. Basically, array is used to store fixed size sequential collection of elements of the similar data type in the memory, or we can also call it as a non-primitive data type in Java. Each element in an array is assigned a unique index element or index number that identifies the position in the array. That happens in all the types of array, whether it is a single dimensional or multi-dimensional. Index elements are described to check the position of the element in the array. Array allows us to store multiple items of the same type of the data. For example, if you would like to store the marks of students, each student, then you will not, and there are 2000 students, you don't want to create 2000 variables of float type or integer type. So you will be creating an array of marks, array of scores that will be of integer type, float type or double type. Assume that we wanted to calculate and store the marks of 10 students. So instead of creating the variables, you can actually go with the particular length or the dynamic length to store and access the data from only one place. And that is how it is also a memory efficient. This avoids the confusion of using multiple variables with the sake of concluding different data into a different variables. We can also convert it to the non-primitive data type to store the homogeneous data. To declare an array of integer or any type, we have a syntax. For example, here you can see that I am going to create an integer array of size 5. So as I discussed, it's a non-primitive type, so memory gets allocated with the help of new keyword. As there are 5 elements, so there would be the index element assigned to each element. Index always starts from 0 and goes till n-1, where n is the size of the array. If size is 5, then n-1 will be 4. You can see here in this diagrammatic representation, 6 is placed at the index 0 and 2 is placed at the index 4. So lowest index is 0 and highest index is 4. To each element, different memory is allocated, but the memory is also adjacent to each other as integer takes 4 bytes. So this is how internally integer array is being stored and the memory gets allocated in this efficient way. Basically, there are two types of array. One is a single dimensional array and another is a multi-dimensional array. When we talk about a single dimensional array, it stores the list of elements or components containing the value that have the same type in a one single dimension. I can easily say that it is an array that has only one subscript or one dimension, that is called single dimensional array. Represents one row or one column of array elements that share a common name and stores the element from 0th index till n-1. Single dimensional arrays, maybe you can store it to get the block of values which have a similar type, like a marks of students, or you can also store the objects, for example, list of students, list of courses, list of suppliers and whatnot. So here are the different syntaxes that you can depict to declare the single dimensional array. I will tell you very soon practically how can you get this done. Second is a multi-dimensional array. Multi-dimensional array is basically a array that has 2 dimensions or more than 2 dimensions, like 3 and all. It is an array of arrays and each element of a multi-dimensional array is an array itself. Here you can see that if I'm saying that my array is going to store 2 dimensions, for example, first dimension and the second dimension. In this case, the first dimension depicts the rows and the second dimension depicts the columns. If I will consider this diagrammatic representation, so I could say that there are 3 rows and 4 columns. So 3 4s are 12 elements this is gonna store. This is how it works. Not in all the cases we implement a single dimensional array. Sometimes we also need to get this kind of data to store. Suppose we need to write a program that stores 5 different subjects and respective marks of each subject. So in that case, the 2D dimensional array would be required, where one dimension will keep the subject name and another will keep the marks in that subject as well. These are the operations that you can perform with traversal to access the element in the array one by one. Insertion is to add an element at the given particular index. Deletion to remove the element at the given index, and search to search an element using the given index or the value. Go for a linear search by default. Update is to modify the existing element at the given index. Arranging the elements in increasing or decreasing order, that's also known as sorting. That's how you can perform the array operations. We also have merging to merge two sorted arrays into a larger sorted array as well. I hope the concept is pretty clear to you all. So I will let you know how you can practically get them implemented in Java. Until next time, stay tuned. Thank you. Hello everyone, Bhavna Gunwani this side. Today in this session I'm going to talk about single dimensional array. Basically, single dimensional array is also known as one subscript or one dimensional array that stores the list of same data type variables into a row or a column, whatever you call it. Let me help you with an example. Here I'm going to declare an integer array, marks, that has a size 5 elements. This statement is known as declaring an array. After that, if you would like to assigning elements to an array, you can manually assign or take it from the user. For example, I would like to manually assign. As I said, that index will start from 0. The name of the array is marks and goes till n-1. So there is a marks at index 1. There is a marks at index 2. There is a marks at index 3. There is a marks at index 4. So here we have element 10 at the 0th index and element 50 as 4th index. If you would like to do the declaration and assignment together, you can also do that. That is also known as initializing an array. So if you know the number of elements that you wanted to assign into the array at the time of declaration, declaring an array with marks 1, you don't need to allocate the size. You can directly assign the values at the time of declaration. That is known as initialization of an array. That is initializing the marks array at the time of declaration. Now let's say if you'd like to print the elements of the array, you can either go for for loop or you can also go for each loop. As I told you, array is also just like a collection of elements, so you can go for a for each loop also. But let me first tell you with the help of for loop. Here I wanted to start the I, which is the iterative variable, starts from the 0th index, goes till marks.length. And here I just wanted to iterate each element till 0 till from 0 till n-1. And wanted to print each element that I have in my marks array one by one. I hope you all are pretty comfortable. How does this for loop work? At the very first iteration, the marks is ith, which is the 0th index, goes till +1 till length marks.length less than that. So it will execute 4 times. The loop iterations will happen. The elements gets printed. Let me help you out. How does this print? So this is printing the marks array with the help of for loop. If you wanted to go for each loop or enhanced loop, you can just go for each loop. Declaring an integer num or value, whatever you call it. This time I'm taking it from the marks one. Fortunately, I have same data, so I can just take any of the array. And here I just wanted to print the value that I being assigned to the marks from the marks one. So until the marks one collection is having the value, we'll assign it to the value variable and print it here. I hope the concept is pretty clear to all of you. How does the declaration happens of the single dimensional array, assignment, and along with that you can also declare and assign at a one go, that's called initialization of an array, and how to iterate the array elements as well. Hello everyone, Bhavna Gunwani this side. Today in this session I will be talking about multi-dimensional array. As I discussed already, multi-dimensional array is the array which has two or more dimensions. Most of the time two dimension, where the first dimension depicts the number of rows and the second dimension depicts the number of columns. They stores the value in the tabular form, which is also known as matrix in real time. If I'm saying that the first dimension is 3 and the second dimension is 4, just like this diagram, 3 rows and 4 columns, in total there would be 12 elements to be stored in this particular iteration. Also kind of we call it as a 2D array that stores the dimension is minimum 2 dimensions. Let me help you with the help of an example. Here I'm going to store the marks in 2 dimension. So at this time you need to depict 2 dimensions this way. The first dimension is for the row and the second is for the columns. So integer kind of array, 2 rows and 3 columns will be there. This is known as declaration of multidimensional array. If you would like to assign multi-dimensional array, you can say that there would be a marks array. The first row and first column there is a value 10. So there would be 2 rows, in each row 3 columns. So first I am keeping the row same but changing the column in each iteration. 20, marks at index 0 and column 2, which is the third column, element is 30. Now in the second row there would be marks at row second, which is the index 1, and the column first in the second row, that is 0, 40, and respectively goes till 3 more elements. Row index 1, column index 1, 50, row index 1 and column index 2, that is 60. You can also do this together, as I told you, that is known as initializing. Saying there would be 2-dimensional array named as marks1 equals to, here you will be creating one curly brace for the major dimension and the another curly brace for the rows that we have. In first row I have 3 elements and in the second row we have more 3 elements. This is how it goes. So you can see that there would be 2 rows. In each row there are 3 columns. So this is at 0, 0 index, 0, 1 and 0, 2. This is 1, 0, 1, 1 and 1, 2. Now let's understand how to print this array or multi-dimensional array. So here I will be iterating 2 loops. The first for loop is outer loop, for loop is for the rows. For example, if I am having 2 rows, so it will go from 0th index to index 1 equals to index 1, and the outer loop will go from 0th index till index 2 equals to index 2. So outer loop will work for rows and inner loop will work for columns. Now you can easily print marks at index ith into jth. If you would like to iterate it in the tabular form only, I can help you out with marks at index ith and index jth. So if you will print this way, in each line different elements gets printed. If you would like to print it in a tabular form, first of all, do not change the line for the column. Once your row index changes, here you go with changing up the line. So you can see that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You can also make it more readable by putting the escape characters. I am putting on the escape character /t that defines the tab key. So here we go with, let me do one thing. This slash is actually this one, backslash. So there are the two rows. In each row there are three elements, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So this is how multi-dimensional stores the data in iterate, where, as I discussed, two would be there. One loop is for the rows, which is the outer one, and the second one is for the column, that is the inner one. Soon we will be discussing how you can get it implement with the help of array of objects, where it will store the list of students containing different properties like student ID, student name, student age in one particular element, and it contains the array of object belongs to, or as I discussed in my previous iteration, that it can store the name of the student scoring the different marks in different subjects. You can go for a multi-dimensional array kind of. So stay tuned for the more upcoming practical scenarios. Until next time, stay tuned. Thank you.